Hi! Hi! Good morning!
Heyo. Hello. Hello, Winter. What's good? Hello, May. To you too. If Mika was showing me places like this, I would have bought the first one. But instead, Mika's been showing me some kind of decrepit Russian houses, some kind of haunted houses in the middle of nowhere, like... Hello, Tim. It's a pleasure to see you. It's been a while. Yeah, as you can see, we have a bit of a unique setting this time around. There is a reason for it. You might guess from the stream title. But we're doing some chill, silly stuff today. Noodles indeed. I had noodles just pretty much before the stream. Some instant ramen, hell yeah. Now I'm having some beer, since it do be Friday. Friday, baby, fuck! Friday, baby. Reading scary stories with the door open. Yeah, I welcome all the entities and creatures and otherworldly beings. If they want to hear a story, they can... They're free to come in and listen, right? Yeah, before we hop in, how's y'all's Friday been so far? Go close my closet. You don't want no gay ghosts, huh? I see you, May. I see you. Yeah, how's y'all's Friday been so far? Got no work today, baby? Doing amazing? Hell yeah. It's been chill. Love to see it. Love to hear it. I had an sort of intense day at work. A lot of working. A lot of working quickly. So I'm a a uh, a little tired, but I feel like that's the perfect vibe for this kind of stream.
God, this water is good. Terry, have you tried the water?
Yes, I am for sure drinking water. Mm-hmm. Tasty water. Weird. This water is making me burp for some reason. I don't know. Odd water, you know. You get those sometimes. Fire water. Let me just very subtly distract you from my water drinking. We shall do this. Damn, this water really making me burp. And then we do this. All right. I have a couple creepypastas ready. So shall we start? It was a quiet night, autumn night. What? Huh? Okay, thank you for whatever that was. It was a quiet autumn night in the small sleepy town of Evergreen Falls. The leaves had just begun their colorful transformation and the crisp air signaled that Halloween was on the horizon. The townsfolk were busy planning their costumes and decorating their homes with eerie embellishments. But little did they know that a sinister force was lurking, ready to plunge them into a holiday nightmare like no other. It started innocently enough. A few misplaced jingles heard in the distance, odd sightings of twinkling lights that didn't belong to any Halloween decoration. An eerie feeling hung in the air, like a shadow cast by a forgotten Christmas tree. Then, one morning, the town's citizens awoke to a chilling surprise. Their quaint cobblestone streets were adorned with garlands and wreaths. The sky was filled with twinkling lights and snowflakes gently fell from above, even though Halloween was still weeks away. The townsfolk were bewildered, for it was as if Christmas had arrived prematurely, uninvited, and unwelcome. As they strolled through their town, they couldn't help but feel that something was terribly wrong. The once vibrant pumpkins and skeletal decorations had disappeared, replaced by Santa Clauses and nativity scenes. The scent of cinnamon and gingerbread wafted through the air, overpowering the crisp scent of autumn leaves. But this was not the Christmas that brought joy and warmth to their hearts. It was a twisted, unsettling version of the holiday. As the days passed, the nightmare intensified. Every home was forcibly adorned with tinsel ornaments and twinkling lights. People's mailboxes overflowed with Christmas cards, all signed by people they couldn't remember. Even the local radio station played Christmas carols on a loop, and the television broadcasted festive movies, turning the once beloved classics into harrowing tales of horror. The town's children began to act strangely. They sang Christmas carols with a sinister hypnotic tune. Their eyes glazed over. They built snowmen with sharp icicle teeth, each one grinning ominously. And worst of all, they started to claim that Santa Claus was coming to town. But this Santa wasn't the jolly, gift-giving figure they had known. He was a menacing presence lurking in the shadows, watching their every move. Desperate and terrified, the townsfolk tried to escape the relentless Yuletide onslaught, but their efforts were in vain. No matter how far they traveled, they found themselves back in the middle of Evergreen Falls, where Christmas was relentless and inescapable. There was no turning back. As the days passed, the once vibrant townsfolk began to wither away, consumed by the eternal Christmas spirit. They sang carols under their voices. They sang carols under their voices grew hoarse, baked endless batches of cookies that tasted of despair, and whispered about the horrors they had seen. In Evergreen Falls, Christmas had become a never-ending nightmare, and there was no hope of salvation. And so, the legend of Evergreen Falls lives on as a chilling reminder that Christmas, when it arrives too early and uninvited, can bring forth a darkness that no one can escape. Be careful what you wish for the most wonderful time of the year can turn into a nightmare that never ends. How's that? He picks a story where Christmas is the scary thing. It's not that Christmas is the scary thing. It's that Christmas coming too early is the scary thing. I'd say this is a very relatable creepypasta, and so it is even more so scary because of it. Nothing actually went wrong, it's just Christmas. That's what's scary. Maybe? Alright. Let's see. Okay. Let me drink my quote-unquote water. On to the next one. That could be like the dark origins of the Christmas world in Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Once upon a chilling night in a small town called Greedsville, a group of friends gathered at their favorite pizzeria, named Tony Slices. This was no ordinary pizzeria. It was known for its mouth-watering, heavenly pizzas that left customers craving for more. The friends, Alex, Sarah, Mike, and Emily, were regulars at Tony's, united by their shared love for the perfect combination of cheese, sauce, and toppings. On this particular evening, the friends had just finished devouring a colossal hot pizza. Every slice had been devoured except for one, the last slice. Also, wait, hold on, this music does not fit. The last slice. It sat there in the center of the table, tempting them with its cheesy allure. The problem was, none of them could decide who should have it. The tension in the air was palpable as the group began to argue. They had always been close, but now they were on the brink of pizza-related discord. What started as light-hearted banter soon escalated into a heated debate. Alex, the group's logical thinker, argued that they should divide the slice into 4 equal parts to ensure fairness. Emily, the assertive one, claimed that she should have it because she paid for the meal. Mike, the peacemaker, suggested they play a game to decide, but nobody could agree on the rules. Sarah, who was the most passionate about pizza, insisted that she deserved the last slice because she had the deepest love for it. As the arguments raged on, the atmosphere grew more and more eerie. The dimly lit pizzeria seemed to close in on them, casting ominous shadows across the table. Unbeknownst to the friends, the staff had been watching the escalating dispute from behind the counter. The employees had seen their fair share of pizza-related dramas, but this was different. The friends' relentless quarrel over the last slice continued, and a strange energy seemed to fill the room. The lights flickered, and the once inviting aroma of pizza now felt suffocating. It was as if the pizzeria itself was taking a sinister interest in their dilemma. Just as the tension reached its peak, something inexplicable occurred. The last slice began to twitch and tremble. Its cheese glistened malevolently, and the toppings writhed in an unnatural dance. The friends watched in horror as the pizza slice seemed to come to life. It slithered off the plate and onto the table, now a grotesque living entity. The friends were paralyzed with fear as it hissed and oozed an eerie green sauce. The pizza slice, fueled by their insatiable desire and greed, seemed to feed off of their discord, growing larger and more ominous with each passing moment. Desperate and horrified, the friends realized that they had to put their differences aside and work together. With shaky hands, they joined forces to grab the pizza slice and, with a unified effort, placed it back on the plate. The pizza slice twitched one last time before turning to its inanimate state. The staff at Tony's Slices watched the bizarre incident unfold, their expressions a mix of confusion and relief. The friends, now shaken and humbled, decided to order another pizza to share. As they devoured the fresh steaming slices, they laughed about the strange and terrifying experience. From that day forward, they never argued over the last slice of pizza again. The memory of the pizza that came to life served as a haunting reminder that their friendship was more valuable than any slice of cheesy goodness. And so, they continued to enjoy their beloved pizza at Tony's Slices, cherishing both the food and the bonds they shared, forever changed by the pizza paranoia they had experienced. Ooh! Monster pizza! You still want pizza, chat? Sometimes the music works a little too well. Yeah, like the timing on these were like perfect. Is this turning dirty? Well, I bet the pizza slice was dirty. Okay, mate. Okay. This made me want pizza. All right. Next one is something that we can all really well relate to. It was just an ordinary birthday. Friends and family gathered around, a cake with flickering candles set in front of me. The anticipation in the room was palpable as everyone readied themselves to sing the traditional happy birthday song. Little did I know that this ordinary birthday would become the stuff of nightmares. As the first notes of the song filled the room, I couldn't help but notice the awkwardness that clung into the air. The words escaped their lips with a stutter, and their voices trembled. It was as if they were singing a dirge rather than a cheerful birthday song. At first I dismissed it as stage fright or nervousness, but it was something more sinister than that. The candles on the cake flickered in an eerie rhythm, casting grotesque shadows on their faces. I gazed around the room, and the expressions on their faces were twisted and grotesque. Their eyes bore into me, and their smiles were a ghastly parody of joy. It felt as though they were singing not to celebrate my birthday, but to appease some unseen malevolent force. As the song continued, their voices grew weaker, the words becoming disjointed and indecipherable. It was as if they were caught in some ghastly trance. The room grew colder and the shadows on the walls seemed to dance in macabre delight. It was as though the very atmosphere was choking the light out of the celebration. I desperately tried to blow out the candles, but they refused to extinguish, as if they were fueled by some sinister energy. The guests continued to sing their voices, a haunting chorus that reverberated through my soul. I felt a sense of impending doom closing in on me, as though this birthday celebration had taken a dark turn. Finally, as the song reached its climax, the room fell into a chilling silence. The candles flickered one last time, casting a grotesque grin on the cake, and then they extinguished themselves. The room was plunged into darkness, and the eerie presence lifted. I could hear the guests breathing a sigh of relief, as though they had been released from a nightmarish spell. I blew out the candles on the cake, and the room was bathed in warm, welcoming light once more. But the memory of that of that unsettling birthday serenade haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling that something otherworldly had taken hold of that moment, and I was left with a lingering dread every time someone sang the happy birthday song. To this day, I can't celebrate my birthday without a deep sense of unease, and I wonder if that night had unleashed something malevolent into the world. Perhaps the awkwardness of that song was a warning, a glimpse into the dark forces that lurk just beyond the surface of our ordinary lives. First he comes for Christmas, now birthdays. There's the music perfectly. Yeah, I kind of fucked up. I kind of fucked up in the middle of that. Oh, what's this? You have a good voice for this. Thank you, thank you. As you may have noticed, all of these are like based on just some relatable things that every person experiences in their lives at least once. So we had Christmas coming too early, being unable to decide who takes the last pizza slice, and now we got the awkward birthday song. Alright, once this... Okay. Let me get a drink.
Scary.
Yes, yes, so scary. Scary, waitable moments. Right. Let's get the next one. Once upon a time, in a small quiet town nestled deep within the heart of the forest, there lived a man named Ethan. He was an ordinary man leading an ordinary life. His days were filled with the monotonous routine of work, sleep, and occasional visits to the local park. It was during one of these park visits that he stumbled upon a strange and unsettling phenomenon. As he sat on a weathered bench gazing at the serene pond, A peculiar sight caught his attention. A solitary black cat with piercing green eyes was making its way toward him. It walked with an air of confidence and purpose, its tail held high in the air. Ethan, being an animal lover, couldn't resist the urge to greet the feline. "Here, kitty kitty," he cooed, extending his hand. To his surprise, the cat stopped in its tracks and locked eyes with him. It opened its mouth, but instead of emitting a regular meow, it produced a sound that sent shivers down Ethan's spine. It was an eerie, almost human-like whisper. Meow, meow. Taken aback, Ethan meowed back at the cat, thinking it was a curious quirk. The cat responded with another unsettling meow whisper, as if it was trying to convey a hidden message. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, Ethan continued the bizarre conversation with the cat, meowing in response to its whispers. From that day onward, Ethan couldn't escape the strange compulsion to meow back at cats. It wasn't just the black cat from the park. Every feline he encountered elicited the same eerie, almost human meows. The cats in the neighborhood began to gather around him, their meows growing louder and more disconcerting each time. Ethan's obsession with meowing back at cats took a toll on his life. He found himself unable to carry on normal conversations, as the urge to respond to feline meows consumed him. He lost his job, friends, and eventually his sanity. He even began to meow in his sleep, filling his nights with haunting echoes of whispered meows. The town's residents grew increasingly concerned about Ethan, believed he had fallen under a sinister curse. They consulted local psychics and paranormal experts, but no one could break the spell that bound him to the meowing cats. It seemed as if he was forever trapped in a nightmarish persistence. Ethan's condition deteriorated rapidly as he eventually confined to a small dark room in his home where he could meow and be meowed at in peace. The townsfolk began to avoid his house as the incessant ghostly meowing could be heard from blocks away. And so the curse of the meowing man continued, leaving a trail of eerie meows and unanswered questions. To this day, those who dare to pass by Ethan's house late at night claim they can still hear his desperate meows echoing in the darkness, as if he's become one with the felines he once cherished. Curse. Is this why you were asking about relatable things? Yeah, pretty much. You want to be that's a whole ass different level of crazy cat lady. God damn it. Uh, I already meow at my cat. Does it meow to you in human voice and stuff? With human words? You had your reading voice on, damn it. She yells at it. Do you yell back or do you meow back? Oh, you do. Okay. You do yell. Meow yell? A meow? A yow? Okay. Now that I'm looking at these, it does seem like some of them are more. Yep, that actually jump scared me. Very spooky. uh, shit, what was I saying? I do realize some of these are much more much biased, but only some though. Only some. All right. He came through the door. Yeah, I guess that's what I get. All right. In a quiet small town nestled in the heart of the American Midwest, there existed a sinister legend that locals whispered about in hushed tones, fearing even to mention its name. It was a tale of dread, anxiety, and dark forces lurking behind the veneer of bureaucracy. This was the legend of the dreaded tax return. Every year, as April 15th approached, a cloud of unease descended upon the town. People would speak of an old, decrepit building at the edge of town, known as the tax collector's office. Its very presence sent shivers down the spines of those who had the misfortune of visiting. The building itself looked as though it had been forgotten by time, its windows covered in grime and curtains drawn tightly. Only one door served as the entrance, and as the legend told, it was always slightly ajar, a dim light flickering from within. Inside, the atmosphere was chilling. A long, narrow corridor led to a dimly lit room. The walls were adorned with faded portraits of tax collectors who had served over the years, their eyes seeming to follow visitors with a malevolent glare. The air was heavy with the scent of old documents and dampness, creating a sense of foreboding. Once inside the room, visitors would encounter an ancient desk, cluttered with stacks of tax forms and eerie whispering voices that seemed to emanate from nowhere. These these voices would ask intrusive questions about income, expenses, and deductions, their words seeping into the visitor's mind like a haunting melody. To make matters worse, the tax collector himself was said to be a faceless bureaucrat. Only ever. What is up with this music? Calm, epic music? What? No! Sorry about that. To make matters worse, the tax collector himself was said to be a faceless bureaucrat, only ever glimpsed in the shadows. When one attempted to ask questions or plead for leniency, the faceless figure would respond with cryptic riddles. God damn it, I lost my chat. When one attempted to ask questions or plead for leniency, the faceless figure would respond with cryptic riddles that left the taxpayer feeling more confused and terrified. But the true horror came when the time to pay arrived. The room's walls would seem to close in, and the shadows would dance menacingly. The tax collector's voice, now a malevolent whisper, would demand not just money but a piece of the taxpayer's soul. It was said that it was said that he had the power to drain the happiness and vitality from those who failed to comply. Many claim to have seen their hair turn prematurely gray, their once smiling faces now etched with a perpetual worry, and their lives spiraling into despair. They spoke of strange, shadowy figures that followed them, always lurking just out of sight. As the deadline loomed, some claimed to have vanished without a trace, their homes left eerily empty. Others, unable to bear the mental and emotional torment, were said to have lost their sanity, wandering the town's streets, muttering cryptic numbers and figures. To this day, the town folk gather on April 15 to share their tales of the dreaded tax return. They whisper of a sinister force that dwells within the tax collector's office, a force that preys on those who dare to venture into its dark corridors. Whether the legend is true or merely a product of collective fear, the dreaded tax return remains a spine-tingling story that serves as a grim reminder of the perils of taxes and bureaucracy. Next story can be about a playlist gone wrong. Yeah. Like, it said scary music, but at some point it started playing some kind of Christmas music and then calm, epic music. Like, what? Who fucking made this? Okay. Alright, this might be a little personal, but maybe I can relate. Once in a quiet little town nestled deep within the woods, there was a small, old-fashioned diner known as the Rusty Skillet. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, its decor, menu, and ambience trapped in the past. The diner's specialty was a dish that locals whispered about in hushed tones, known only as the Undercooked Feast. The Undercooked Feast was a bizarre and unsettling dish that the diner served to only a select few brave or curious patrons. The ingredients were shrouded in secrecy, and many believed it was made from meat so undercooked that it was nearly raw. The chef, a mysterious and reclusive figure named Eldon, claimed that the recipe was passed down through generations and held a dark and ancient secret. He insisted that only those with a certain level of bravery and daring could partake. To order the Undercooked Feast, a patron would have to make a solemn pledge to Eldon that they were willing to endure whatever horrors came their way. This pledge came with a warning, a tale told by the few who had dared to order the dish. They spoke of a creeping sense of dread that would wash over them as they consumed the meal, a feeling that something was watching from the shadows. One such patron was Sarah, a fearless traveler who had heard tales of the Undercooked Feast. She ventured into the Rusty Skillet one rainy evening, her curiosity getting the better of her. She placed her order with Eldon and vowed to face whatever darkness lurked within the dish. As the plate was set before her, Sarah couldn't help but shiver. The meat was indeed undercooked, its center raw and pulsating with a sinister energy. The smell was an unsettling mix of decay and something far worse. With a deep breath, Sarah picked up her fork and took the first bite. The moment the undercooked meat touched her tongue, a wave of dread swept over her. She felt as though 1,000 eyes were upon her, unseen entities whispering in hushed voices. Eldon's cold gaze seemed to bore into her soul, his eyes reflecting an ancient malevolence. As Sarah continued to eat, her surroundings grew increasingly eerie. The lights dimmed and the once quiet diner echoed with unnatural sounds. Whispers and ghostly laughter filled the air, and the shadows in the corners of the room seemed to come to life. Eldon's figure distorted and twisted as he moved, his smile stretching unnaturally wide. Sarah's heart raced, but she was determined to finish the meal. As she took the last bite, the room fell into an absolute darkness. The whispers grew louder, and something cold and clammy brushed against her hand. She heard Eldon's voice, now twisted and monstrous, promising that she would forever be a part of the rusty skillet. The next morning, the diner was empty, save for a plate with an unfinished undercooked feast and a journal left behind by Sarah. In it, she chronicled her harrowing experience, begging anyone who found her notes to stay far away from the sinister diner and its cursed dish. No one knows what became of Sarah, but her tale lives on as a cautionary warning to those who dare seek out the forbidden and the otherworldly. The rusty skillet still stands, and the undercooked feast remains on its menu, luring in curious souls with a taste for the unknown, and a darkness that hungers for more. So yeah, that was and that's why you cook your meat properly. Ain't no fucking rare, some medium type shit. You gotta go well done, and that's it. Otherwise, you go through what Sarah just did. Burnt meat is still better than rare. Charcoal is better than rare meat. Okay, this this next one is a really weird one. There's some inconsistencies in there, but it's silly. It's silly. That's all that matters. Alright, let's see what's next on our playlist. Once upon a time, in a quiet, nondescript town, there was a peculiar legend, whispered in hushed tones among the locals. It was a tale. What the fuck is this Matrix music? It was a tale that had been passed down through generations, known as the curse of the stubbed toe. The legend told of a cursed object, a seemingly innocent wooden stool. This stool was said to be imbued with an evil spirit, one that derived immense pleasure from the misery of anyone who dared to stub their toe on it. The stories claimed that the stool had been crafted by a vengeful craftsman who had suffered greatly in his life. He poured all his malevolent energy into creating this cursed piece of furniture, which was later sold to an unsuspecting family. The first victim of the stool was a young boy who accidentally kicked it in the dark. As his toe collided with the wooden leg, he was gripped by a sudden, intense pain. His family could do nothing but watch in horror as his screams echoed through the house. Days turned into weeks, and his toe became infected, leading to a painful amputation. The story of the cursed stool soon spread throughout the town, and it became a macabre rite of passage. People would visit the cursed stool, placing it in the darkest, most treacherous corners of their homes. They believed that stubbing their toe on it would invite the malevolent spirit, and in return, they would gain a sinister power or secret knowledge. Some even whispered that the stool had the power to grant any one wish, but it came at the cost of unbearable suffering. One dark and stormy night, a curious teenager named Sarah decided to put the legend to the test. She had heard the tales and scoffed at the idea that a simple stool could hold any power. Alone in her dimly lit basement, she maneuvered the stool into the center of the room and kicked it as hard as she could. Pain coursed through her foot and she screamed in agony. Over the following days, Sarah's life took a... Sure, whatever. Took a terrifying turn. She was plagued by nightmarish visions and bizarre accidents. Her friends and family began to shun her, believing her to be cursed. Desperate and tormented, Sarah decided to investigate the origins of the stool and discover how to break the curse. Her research led her to an ancient diary hidden in the attic of a local historian. The diary belonged to the vengeful craftsman himself, detailing his twisted creation and the steps to undo the curse. Sarah learned that the only way to break the curse was to find the stool's original owner and bring them to justice for their wrongdoing. Sarah embarked on a perilous journey to uncover the identity of the stool's original owner. As she delved deeper into the town's dark history, she realized that the curse was more sinister than she could have ever imagined. The original owner had been a malevolent figure who had caused immense suffering in the town, and the stool was his tool of torment. To break the curse, Sarah would have to confront this dark legacy, a task fraught with danger and moral ambiguity. With every step she took, the curse's grip on her life tightened, making her question whether breaking the curse was worth the terrible price she would have to pay. And so the legend of the curse of the stubbed toe lives on, a chilling tale of a cursed stool that tests the boundaries of human courage and morality, reminding us that even the most innocuous things can harbor unspeakable malevolence. You love my dad's barbecue? And medium, never going back? Oh, what? I don't... What? So, you don't like medium? Medium meat? Yeah, also, yes, Sarah's been, Sarah is one unlucky girl. Yeah, the curse of the stubbed toe. This was the one that Breezy told me. What's a relatable thing? Stubbing your toe, and I was like, well, okay. I actually didn't read this before before the stream. Never going back to the burnt crap I grew up with. Oh. Alright. 2 more to go. Once upon a time in a small sleepy town, there lived a man named Samuel. He was an ordinary fellow with an unremarkable life until one fateful night when he went out to dinner with friends. They feasted on delicious dishes, and as the night wore on, a tiny morsel of food, seemingly harmless, lodged itself between one of Samuel's molars. At first, Samuel paid little attention to the intruder, believing it would work itself out naturally. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the discomfort grew, and so did his obsession. Samuel couldn't help but feel a relentless, unending hunger gnawing at him from within, originating from the stubborn piece of food that had lodged itself in his teeth. His friends and family watched in despair as Samuel's life spiraled out of control. He was unable to concentrate on anything else, constantly probing at his teeth with toothpicks, floss, and even sharp objects. The constant torment of the food fragment drove him to the brink of madness. The food between his teeth seemed to have a malevolent spirit of its own. It whispered to him in the darkest hours of night, promising to reveal a secret, a forbidden knowledge, if only he could release it. Samuel's desire for that knowledge and relief from his relentless hunger consumed him. In the depths of his madness, Samuel's teeth became discolored and decayed, and the pain grew unbearable. He finally decided to take matters into his own hands. With a mirror, pliers, and a heart heavy with desperation, he attempted to extract the cursed morsel. But as he tugged on the fragment, something unexpected happened. The pain grew even more excruciating, and blood gushed from his gums. It was as if the food had fused with his very being, and it would not be removed so easily. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months once more, but Samuel's life continued its downward spiral. He became a recluse, locked away in his home, consumed by an obsession to rid himself of this cursed piece of food. His hair turned grey, his body emaciated, and his mind a shattered reflection of what it once was. One fateful night, after years of torment, Samuel descended into his basement, a place he had avoided for years. It was there that he had kept all the tools of his obsession. As he approached the dark, foreboding corner where he had first tried to remove the cursed food, he noticed a peculiar inscription etched into the wall. It read, "To gain knowledge, one must pay the price." The truth struck him like a lightning bolt. The food fragment, the unending hunger, it was all a curse, a test of his willpower and sanity. But what knowledge was it meant to reveal? Was it worth the price he had paid? In that moment, the whispering grew louder, promising answers to the questions that had plagued him for so long. Samuel hesitated, but the hunger for knowledge had become insatiable as the hunger for food had once been. He decided to continue his quest no matter the cost. And so, Samuel's obsession with that one piece of food stuck in between his teeth continued, a never-ending cycle of torment and desire, as he delved deeper into the dark abyss of the curse, forever searching for answers that may never come. Where's my story about being pantsless? That's not very relatable. 100% had a piece of food stuck in his teeth. Maybe, perhaps. Go to the dentist, bro. Yeah, my boy was doing everything else but going to the dentist. Is taking off your pants not the first thing you do when you got home? No. And even if I do, I just hop into my, I don't know, like sweatpants or something immediately. Maybe you're the weird one. Nah. All right, last one. Oh, by the way, for some reason this one turned into a poem. I didn't ask ChatGPT to do this, but it's kind of neat. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, but the children were anxious, a feeling of despair. Young Timmy had waited with bated breath, hoping for presents that would surpass his best. He had been good all year, or so he believed. But what he received that night would leave him deceived. The clock struck midnight, and Santa soon came, leaving gifts under the tree, each one with a name. Timmy rushed to the presents, his heart all aflutter, but what he unwrapped made his excitement shudder. The first gift he opened was a box rather small, but inside was just a single sad ping-pong ball. Timmy scratched his head and tried not to cry. He wondered if Santa was playing a sly lie. The second gift was no better, it's true, for inside was a sock worn and old, and no clue. Santa must have mixed up the gifts, he supposed, as Timmy examined the single sock, quite exposed. Next up was a package, wrapped neatly in bows, but inside was a single crushed, wilted red rose. Timmy was puzzled, his disappointment grew, wondering if this was some joke played on him by a crew. His parents looked worried, exchanged glances of dread. They too were surprised by what Santa had spread. But Timmy, undeterred, opened another small box. Inside was a used toothbrush, quite shocking and unorthodox. As the gifts kept on coming, the strangeness prevailed. With each box, Timmy's joy and his spirits were jailed. He received a broken umbrella, an empty CD case, and a coupon for something he didn't embrace. The room grew colder, and shadows loomed near. A sinister presence was what Timmy could hear. He looked up and saw a figure, eerie and tall, standing by the tree, just watching him crawl. Santa, it seemed, had turned sinister and dark, delivering gifts that left their cruel mark. Timmy tried to scream, but his voice was suppressed as the sinister Santa approached with a jest. "Little Timmy," said Santa with a sinister smile, "I've brought you these gifts to torment you a while. You've been too good for your own good, you see. Now you'll suffer with these presents from me." The room filled with whispers, and the shadows grew dense, as Timmy was surrounded by malevolence. The disappointing gifts started to shift and transform, taking grotesque shapes that could do him harm. Terrified and trapped, Timmy's screams echoed through the night, a haunting tale of Christmas, full of terror and fright. As he struggled to break free from his gift-wrapped curse, he realized this Christmas things could get much worse. And so the legend of Timmy and his disappointing gifts spread far and wide, a chilling creepypasta of a Christmas night's ride. Beware, dear reader, for this tale has been told. On Christmas expect joy, but beware of the cold. Damn, the song really matched the vibe and ended and ended perfectly too. Like this last one is actually pretty cool. Like my prompt for ChatGPT was create a creepypasta about disappointing Christmas gifts. But damn, that thing went hard on it. Made a whole ass poem of it. Well, how'd you like those creepypastas? Super creepy, super spooky. They were silly, indeed. Alright, and with that done, I'm gonna be heading out. Because because I have no energy today. Just a little quirky.
God,
little,
this water is good. Terry, have you tried the water?
little stream. Because why not? Poi Doreto. Alright. Bye bye. See you around. Have a good one.